Sioux City, the fourth largest city in Iowa, lies along the Missouri River in the South Dakota-Nebraska tri-state area. History can be found around every corner of this river city, whose past is woven with Native American tales, pioneer explorations, and America's westward expansion. While preserving its rich history, Sioux City also enjoys a reputation as a hub for entertainment and the arts. On a trip through downtown, visitors can admire public statues and art installations, as well as many cultural centers. This Iowa entrepreneur story began over 100 years ago with Cloyd Smith, the founder of the American Popcorn Company, makers of Jolly Time Popcorn. Located on One Fun Place, this business is now operated by Cloyd's great-grandchildren, Gary and Carlton Smith.
Well, he was a true entrepreneur in the days of entrepreneurs, and he was a graduate pharmacist at the age of 17. He started a drugstore in Odabote, Iowa. He went down to Texas, was in the oil business for a while, came back to Odabote, ran the drugstore, started the first phone company in Odabote. I like telling the story that the first phone line in Odabote, Iowa ran between the doctor's office and his drugstore. He was an inventor. He, with a partner, invented the original formulation of Cornhusker hand lotion. Eventually, he sold his phone company to Bell Telephone and moved to Sioux City. With the money he received from the sale of his businesses back home, he bought farmland in Sac County, and obviously in the summer of 1913, the tenant on that farm grew popcorn, and that's how we started with the American Popcorn Company.
Popcorn has always been growing in Sac County, especially in those days. It was kind of the center of popcorn production throughout the United States. And he got into an argument his first year he grew popcorn in 1913 with the local elevator who was buying the popcorn, and the operator said, if you aren't pleased with the price, why, you just take your popcorn and try to market it yourself.
And so he did. In 1914, Cloyd started the American Popcorn Company, and it wasn't long before he began to make waves in the consumer popcorn industry, which was still in its infancy.
And it was a different time, and it was a different business, because this was, when we were founded, this was pre-grocery stores. So our original customers were outdoor street vendors that popped popcorn or roasted peanuts or whatever they did. Then eventually, America's supermarkets were invented, and obviously we established a brand with our 10-ounce can, and we've just taken it from there.
It took off quickly, the idea of a popcorn of high quality that was guaranteed to pop. Prior to that, it was just sold in barrels in the general stores.
You know, at that time, in the early 1900s, to take a product that at that time was simply available in Cracker Barrels that was questionable quality, and then to have the vision to say, hey, if I took this product and paid special attention to it, packaged it, there's something to this.
Cloyd passed that vision and passion onto his son, Howard Smith, who became the next in a long line of entrepreneurs.
Howard had been, started working when he was 16 in high school, when Cloyd brought the first load of popcorn over and told him to get to work shelling it. So he was certainly qualified in 1939 to take over the business, and did a terrific job from a marketing standpoint. He was a very outgoing, rather flamboyant individual, and carried that through to furdering the Jolly Time brand.
I always say that my great-grandfather was the entrepreneur, the inventor, but our grandfather was the marketer who really established the Jolly Time brand. And he was quite a personality, and if you look at his signature, it very well portrays his personality. As a little kid, I mean, he was just bigger than life to me, and he was affectionately known as Popcorn Smith around Sioux City in this region. He was big in the cattle business. He was just a really big personality, but he understood marketing very well.
This was the time of the Great Depression, where popcorn was one luxury most people could afford. This was also the time of marketing-driven radio programs.
We started in radio and actually developed our own radio program on ABC networks with using an orchestra, General Jollytime, and his popcorn kernels. And that evolved into, of course, television, which became very popular and went hand in hand with movies. We found celebrities from Danny Kaye to Alan Ladd to Ozzie and Harriet, Bob Hope, big names in those days.
Howard's expansion of the Jollytime name made the company perfectly poised to grow when an invention came along that changed the industry: the microwave.
When I started, it was pre-microwave popcorn. And we were selling poly bags and cans to a grocery store, and it was a little sleepy category for a grocer and not all that important, but yet it was very important to us, obviously. But our whole world changed with microwave popcorn, and that was when it went from the freezer to a dry grocery shelf in 1984. We were well positioned to introduce a microwave popcorn because we had this network of salesmen all across the country. We were among the very first brands to introduce, and so from 84 till the early 90s, we grew tremendously in dollar sales, but also we grew up as a company because it turned us from a grain handler into a food processor, and there's a big difference there.
A lot of the appliance stores used popcorn to demonstrate how microwaves work. And so we worked with bag manufacturers to come up with a bag that would do a better job than a brown paper bag. And of course, from there we went to many different flavors of popcorn, and the innovations still continue today.
The dawn of the microwave didn't just help the company expand its product line. It also helped the Smith family to distribute their popcorn across the globe.
We were pretty much just a domestic sales company until microwave popcorn. And the story on how we got started exporting was that my father timed a European vacation with the Anuga Food Show, which is a worldwide food show held in Cologne, Germany. And he walked that show for 2 days with my mom and came home. This would have been in '85, and came home and said, "Gary, if we ever want to get serious about exporting, we should start by attending the Anuga show, food show." And we had conversations that with the advent of microwave popcorn, maybe we could change some snacking habits around the globe. Americans eat far more popcorn than anyone around the world, and very few homes pop popcorn inside their kitchen, within their home. I mean, everybody knows popcorn, but it's more of an outdoor carnival movie theater type of snack than it is a home consumption. But we thought with microwave popcorn that might change. So we did go to the next Anuga show in '87, and we were able to capture a new customer out of Sweden as a result of attending that show, so it kind of got us started. And then we formed some partnerships with export management companies who, they're sales agents, and they had the expertise to do exporting, which we didn't have. And so we were the product expert, and they were kind of the export expert. And together we have grown this thing over the last 30 years into being it's about 10% of our total business and 40 countries around the world.
One thing that has kept the Smith family relevant in the popcorn industry is their ability to change.
Well, our business is changing. Microwave popcorn isn't as popular as it was a few years back, but yet ready-to-eat popcorn is growing rapidly, and that is something that we haven't done traditionally, but we are getting into it now, and so that's the biggest shift that we're witnessing, and so we have to be successful in ready-to-eat popcorn for us to continue to grow as a company. I think that's the biggest trend that we're seeing. But microwave popcorn is still 2/3 of our business, and so we can't ignore it, obviously. So we're going to be introducing a new flavor of microwave popcorn this year, and I'm sure that we'll have another one next year. That's kind of how you keep fresh, and hopefully they hit. Sometimes they don't, but we've got to stay active within microwave popcorn. And of course, we sell a lot of popcorn, just raw kernels in poly bags and jars, to movie theaters, to concessionaires. And so there's many segments to our business, but the growth is in this ready-to-eat, and we are in within that segment. Now we have to be successful within that segment.
We have a lot of new innovative ideas that we hope will be coming on stream, and we just want to continue building the brand and making the Jolly Time name stronger than ever, and making it one that is known throughout the snack food industry.
Mergers and consolidations in the food business have all but eliminated family-owned businesses. While this can be challenging, the Smith family is proud that they are continuing the family tradition.
We're going to continue to be challenged as a family-owned company, which is a rarity in American business today, competing against large corporate conglomerates. We have to be on our toes. We have to be able to respond quickly, and that's one of the advantages of being a small family-owned company, and a company that focuses on one business, popcorn. Gary set it off, and we don't know much, but we do know a lot about popcorn. So, with that focus and that emphasis, we can stay sharp and try to stay ahead of the competitive category.
It's pretty cool, To be 100 years old is one thing, but then to keep it within the family for 4, now 5 generations is even more amazing. I don't know exactly the stats, but like 30% of family businesses make it to the 2nd generation, 10% to the 3rd generation, and like 2% or something to the 4th generation. Yet the 5th generation of the Smith family is getting started, and the intention is to pass it on to them as my father did for me.
We are proud of our heritage, and as long as there's another generation that has the desire to carry on the family tradition, why we want to keep it in the family. We're proud of that.
Family is a very important thing to the Smiths, and it extends beyond just blood relation. They see their employees as family too, and they work hard for each other.
I've had the privilege of working with Gary and Carlton for almost 28 years now, and it really has been an honor, and just to see them and their relationship with employees and their ability to keep the company relevant and grow. We talk about the Jolly Time family, and it truly is a family at Jolly Time. It's throughout the entire organization, be it the employees, be it our growers. We try to, and we do instill that feeling that we are all in this together, that we are one big family behind Jolly Time Popcorn.
We're very proud of the fact that we're still family owned, and we try to run our business like a family, and feel that all of our employees are part of the Jolly Time family.
Little did Cloyd Smith know that one of his business ventures would last for over 100 years, and that it would be passed down through the generations. Each new generation faced its own unique challenges, but by taking advantage of new opportunities, they were able to take Jolly Time to the next level. With the 5th generation getting started, the Smiths have found a way to keep Jolly Time in the family and still have fun.
Well, because that's the tradition of popcorn. It's family and it's fun, and that is that's what we stand for. That's what we do every day, is We have fun making Jolly Time popcorn, and if we didn't have fun, we wouldn't have carried it on as long as we have.
Just off the historic Hills Byway in southeast Iowa lies an area famous for its great outdoor activities and small-town living. This Iowa entrepreneur story takes us to the heart of Davis County, Bloomfield. In its thriving downtown, visitors and natives alike enjoy a unique blend of gift shops, restaurants, and local culture. Bloomfield is also home to many historic buildings, the most famous of which is the Davis County Courthouse. Built in 1877, the courthouse is on the National Register of Historic Places for its Second Empire architectural style. Less than a mile away in the Bloomfield Industrial Park is Davencorp Welding and Fabrication. Founded by industry veteran Mark Davenport, this family business has both local roots and a national reach. In 2002, Mark was working at American Welding and Tank. Then he saw an opportunity, and he took it.
When I started this, I was actually working in this building for a company called American Welding and Tank, and I was a supervisor here. And I guess, to make a long story short, they were bringing in a lot of their parts for their tanks from quite a ways away. I thought, well, that seems kind of, a lot of freight, and I asked them if I could bid on them, and I got the bid, and then we had to get machines and building and started making parts.
That bold entrepreneurial move grew into a business of its own and a new life for Mark, who was soon busy making parts and running his own company. His old employer became one of his best customers until their doors closed in 2009.
Kind of a bittersweet, actually, is they were a good customer. We hate to lose that business.
But as the story goes, with so many local companies, the recession of 2008 brought major challenges to Mark and his team.
We were doing real well up till 2008. I think we had probably around 21 employees by then, and we had a customer that was doing great, and we, it's kind of like maybe we had too many eggs in one basket thing. So we had a lot of inventory, and we had to ramp up our production to keep up with their production, and to do that we would have to maintain a certain amount of inventory to keep that momentum going. And then when the bomb hit, they lost order. They put all their POs on hold, and we were sitting there with a lot of finished products and a lot of inventory brought in that we couldn't move. And we went from 20 employees, 20-some employees, to about 8 in about probably 3 or 4 months. Yeah, it was a bad time.
The recession affected the whole community, causing some businesses to close. But Mark weathered the storm.
And he stuck by it. He did have his lean times, but the vision was strong enough that he didn't give up. He's done a lot of physical work himself. There's times he was in the shop working, and I think employees honor that. He's willing to get his hands dirty and get out and work.
Business has bounced back since then. Looking beyond the state borders, they found new clients across the country. With more work, Mark began adding staff, and by 2011, his company had outgrown their facility. Mark decided to move his business back to where he started, the old American welding and tank building. I
guess, actually, the building that I was in before, I had worked as an employee too. So this has happened twice. Maybe it's bad for businesses if I work for them.
With more room to work, Davencorp hit its stride, finding a niche in the market.
Well, I guess we started beating the bushes a bit. You know, we didn't see, there wasn't anybody around that were just making parts and, you know, job shop type stuff. Most everybody had kind of like a product line of their own, you know. So we found some decent customers, local in the town. We found a good customer up there for several years and made a lot of parts.
Mark's company now ships their products from coast to coast and border to border, and they're always looking for ways to expand into new markets.
It's really going to depend upon the need that's out there. We don't want to have narrow vision, stay focused on one particular market. A lot of our company's background, because of who is working here, a lot of our emphasis has been on material handling equipment. But we don't want to limit ourselves to that. We are getting into making some components for some ag tooling companies and some road construction equipment companies. And so just trying to stay open-minded and to make sure as we look around that we say, hey, what could we do here? Not what have we done, but what could we do? And just making ourselves available to those opportunities. So as far as where we're going, it's going to depend on what's needed, and whatever's needed, we want to be there.
Industry is always changing, but Mark Davenport keeps his business flexible and is always on the lookout for new opportunities. More importantly, Mark has grit. He has the courage to stick with an idea and to do what it takes to weather the storm. This not only strengthens his business, but it also strengthens the local economy of Bloomfield.